Committee, Mr. Johnson, for a brief opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank the chairman for holding this hearing today. It has the stated topic of implementation of the Federal Assets and Sales Transfer Act, FASTA, which is a worthy topic. And this is not, however, the most pressing issue before this subcommittee as it relates to the GSA. I intend to address some of the issues arising from the lease that is held by President Trump on the old post office. On March 24, 2017, GSA released a letter from a GSA contracting officer asserting that the Trump Old Post Office Lease LLC is in full compliance with its lease agreement. I categorically disagree with this conclusion. The Trump Old Post Office LLC is a corporation completely owned and controlled by President Trump and his three oldest children. The lease agreement explicitly prohibits any elected official of the U.S. government from serving as a lessee or from obtaining any benefit that may arise from the lease. Specifically, the lease states that no member or delegate of Congress or elected official of the government of the United States or the government of the District of Columbia shall be admitted to any share or part of this lease or to any benefit that may arise therefrom. The last time I checked, the President of the United States is an elected official. The GSA contracting officer provided no clear legal rationale for his decision on behalf of the American taxpayer. In fact, due to a Freedom of Information Act request, we now know that as early as November 11, 2016, this same key GSA contracting official was casting as, quote, nonsense, end quote, news reports dealing or detailing the conflict of interest for the old post office building. This determination was presumably before any legal analysis by the Office of General Counsel of GSA or the Department of Justice. So we are faced with a situation where GSA is negotiating with President Trump's two sons, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump, on the meaning of the plain language of the post office lease agreement. After repeated requests by the Trump organization, GSA is now twisting the word benefit. Forget about the traditional benefit. The Trump-controlled GSA now wants us to believe that as long as the Trump organization creates layers of corporate shells and reinvests the profits of the lease agreement back into the hotel while President Trump occupies the Oval Office and delays receiving his profits until after his presidency concludes, then there is no benefit. Although GSA and the Trump Old Post Office LLC have claimed that the president is not benefiting from the lease, he's clearly benefiting from the lease. The president has listed the loan he took from Deutsche Bank to renovate the old post office building as a personal liability. Under the new operating agreement with the Trump Old Post Office LLC, the president may use his share of the profits to back the Deutsche Bank loan that he lists as a personal liability in his financial disclosure. It's clear that no matter how many Russian nesting dolls President Trump may utilize to attempt to conceal his improprieties, it remains inescapable that President Trump is still gaining a significant benefit by doing business with the GSA, an agency that he controls, an agency that he is supposed to be leading on behalf of the American taxpayers. It has also become clear that this private business being run by the Trump family in the old post office building has been a profitable business. Recent financial disclosures from both President Trump and his daughter Ivanka Trump, a White House aide, show that they have received over $20 million in profits from the Trump International Hotel operating in the old post office building. It just opened in October, soft opening, and for the first 2 months, I believe they indicated that there was a deficit. So that means over the last 8 months, profits of $20 million have accumulated. Because the Trump administration has refused to release financial documents related to the old post office, we have no assurances that GSA has received a percentage of the profits that it is entitled to under the lease agreement. There are no assurances that all of the agreements between the Trump organization and its vendors are arm's length transactions and not designed to depress reportable profits. All of these unanswered questions fall under a cloud of conflict of interest. This committee needs to fulfill its responsibilities and conduct its own bipartisan independent review of this lease agreement, and I'm glad we're getting started on that today. We need to assure taxpayers that President Trump is not enriching himself while serving in the ultimate position of public trust. As ranking member of this subcommittee, I consider it my top priority, and I look forward to working with the other members of this committee to resolve this issue satisfactorily, and with that, I yield back.
Thank you. I now call on ranking member of the full committee, Mr. DeFazio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for this hearing. Obviously, I have a long-standing concern